crypto market was correcting down. But with the CPI numbers going better than expected, the market is bouncing back up. So in terms of the technical side, we are looking for another 30-40% run up in big coins, and that may push small coins even higher. But right now, if you remember what we talked yesterday, Ether is at a resistance, but most likely we're going to go test the next level of resistance because Bitcoin is going to test this level of resistance right now. So that does mean if Bitcoin can actually go higher on 30 to 40%, Ether may do 50 to 70%. So a lot of altcoins are going to do 100 to 500% run to the upside because we have some time left. So when we say time, understand that it's till the next Fed hike, which would be in September 23rd. So right now, the market is primed for a rally. So when you're entering, make sure you look at the fundamentals. You do get some of these which are posed like, okay, we are the best or we are going to be the best. But, they've been talking about this from a long time. So we need to literally see that coming out right now because see, even what they are highlighting here kind of, give sense. Income per day, $100, $42, $16, $4, and then their charges. Now, if you're familiar with Ether and you have processed the transaction, you know that rarely you get $1 for your transaction fee, and a lot of time you get it about $10. So this average, which they show from $1 to 20, I would say put it somewhere around $8 to 20. Recently, yeah, somewhere below $5 towards 10, 12. Yeah, it is happening, but that's still way, way higher than what we really need. We are having assets which can do 0.0000 numbers, right? Near zero cost. And if you neglect those, that's when you miss the biggest assets, which are really priced low right now. So the undervalued assets in the market are there. And as the market picks up and it moves back higher, you are going to look at these assets because this one is something which I reiterate every time because we are following this particular pattern. So if you are breaking through this, understand that in time, now we don't know how much time it's going to take, but you do have 40 to 60 days until next Fed hike. So if they are doing a little bit of hike, instead of 50, 75, they're doing a 20, 25 basis point hike. That's going to give even more room to the market and say in 90 days, we may actually go higher. Now, the upside is enormous considering the downside where your support is. So it's actually a risk to reward ratio, what you do in investment. And this time in this asset class, it's showing you have a lot of opportunity. Now, we did have a lot of uncertainties with the rate of inflation coming out and what we can expect from the Fed side of it. But right now, that cloud is slowly moved away and you're observing a green market. So if you are going to take benefit of this, you have to look at what's happening right now in the market in terms of where the volume is going in. You see a lot of coins which doesn't have much of a volume, and you see a lot of volume going in to top coins where you can literally see like, okay, some of them compared to XRP, they don't have that much utility in my opinion, but they get more volume. So the market thinks that it is good to buy. So most likely we have seen that in wave one, even if it has a utility or it's a meme coin, it can pump because the market decides so. So when you are going in, look at these technicals and understand like what your upside is. So now we are going to break down through different assets to understand like what's happening and then look at what the CPI means. Right now, if you are looking at it, you can have some of a little bit of doubt here and there, but if you actually look at last inflation, where you break it down based on which sector, which segment actually pushed the price up and all, now we kind of get that understanding, okay, why this is easing and why this trend may continue, which again mean that the market may go higher, anticipating that the Fed is going to go a little bit more dovish from here and the market gets more room to run to the upside. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. In our last video, we actually discussed about this, right? How the CPI can come out. It's inflation versus recession narrative going out there, and right now it's slowly shifting away from inflation towards a recession. Now, we are already in one, whether you agree or not. 2 quarters negative does actually mean something, and economy doesn't actually look good. You go out, the prices are really high, so the inflation in terms of buying power, your purchasing power is down. So you really want to make sure whatever you have is on the right asset class where you have upside, and that's one of the reason why we look at asset and the entire asset class. So here, as an entire asset class, this is one of the biggest opportunity which you may get in next 2, 3, 4 years in various different markets. After this, yeah, you may see some gains in the real estate or even the stocks, but it won't be comparable to what the crypto market actually offers. So right now, when you're at the support, historical support, and you're bouncing from that, you can actually think like what the upside can be. You can be conservative and say, okay, it's gonna stop at the midpoint, but still that is going to be a 10-15x from where we are right now. So if you understand the market and you are having that risk tolerance, you may even go 30, 40, 50x. So we need to wait and see. So right now, if you're comparing that with XRP, and look like each time when we were bottoming, the price were making a lower low. It was, really hard emotionally because the psychology of investment were really low. People were not coming in with much of money. But again, some whales or institutions were scooping up the supply at that time, and they didn't get much more and they had to chase. So the price slowly started going back up. Now, you do have to understand, when the buyers increase, suddenly the price starts dropping. Now, don't get confused. If you don't have too much sellers, then now buyers are here, the demand is there, and sellers would be actually trying to take benefit of this. So automatically the price slowly have to go back up, but initially that actually goes back down. Say if you have giant shorts coming in, the price actually can go a little bit higher first before it actually goes back down. So right now you have that dynamics playing out in this market, and you need to make sure what you observe is something correct, right? So for XRP, you can actually look at a weekly chart first to see like where you are right now. In terms of moving average, what you're looking at is the 21-day moving average crossing 200-day moving average to the downside. Now, technically speaking, that is a death cross, which actually shows you negative side of this. But all the time, always, we have actually seen whenever this cross happens, the price come back to test that moving average. So automatically, you see this, you're going up, you broke to the upside. The moving average crossed to the upside. That was a golden cross, but still the price came lower to test this. Now, on a medium term, that does mean there is some negative issues in the market clouding based on technicals, but short term, this actually does mean that the price is going to go up to 0.5, 0.6 range. So if you are in trading positions, make sure you do take some of the profits when we are reaching there, because if you get a breakout, now you need to see that the price is breaking through 0.8, 0.85 range. If that does happen, then now it goes all the way up to the macro charts, the monthly one, where you kind of get like, okay, the 21-day moving average is around 0.74. You break above that, we talked about 0.85, right? So as we break above this, things changes. So you kind of go in and you look at this like, okay, that is opportunity. Now, you can actually put in MACD, RSI, whatever indicators you like, say oscillating or the strength, whatever you want to put in. Now, this actually shows you, okay, on a weekly, you are just slowing down, and the price showing you on a monthly, the price is showing you that it is showing a potential for reversal. So when you are coming back to retest this moving average, it does give you the ability to say like, okay, Let's actually observe what the market is doing. But this range is going to be acting as a resistance. So now you take a step back, you take a step in, look at a weekly, and that's when you see like, okay, you do have possibility that the price is going to go up to this range, test this. So when the price does that, if you're in a trade, just to be on the positive side, to be on the safe side, make sure you take profits if you have trading positions. If your long-term bags are packed and your average is higher than that, that can be so tricky, but you need to take the right decision. Now, if you are looking at different assets, now say another asset which is having similar correlation, which would be like XLM. So if you are looking at this, we already crossed to the downside here, and now we are coming back up to test the moving average. So here, what's tricky is like, it's not only the 21-day moving average which the price usually tests, it even go breach that towards the 200-day moving average. So you may still be able to see some momentum there. So now that is one of it. Now, if you are in the same payment sector looking at different coins, say HBAR, Hedra is another one which, in general, we all know and look like after UNXDC and Quant. So right now, that's something similar to that of XRP. You do have your support range here, close to this range, but your moving average is somewhere close down here. Now, on a weekly, you don't actually get to see the 200-day moving average there. You'll have to put on a 3-day chart to see that. So you cross the moving averages here, but you do have a lot of space to come back up. So it kind of shows a lot of similarity towards that of XRP. Now, if you're going to look at the other one, which is Quant, these are all in the payment side, right? The payment tokens. So when you are focusing on this, when we were bouncing at 40, 45, we kind of told you, right? Okay, that's a good one to buy, and we did enter there. Now, with the support resistance range, we took the profit, 105, we took the profits. Now we have higher targets too. But right now you see a lot of targets being hit and breaking through the 200-day moving average on a 3-day chart, closing there, maintaining another candle there that was volatile. So having a retest here is not bad, but with the positive CPI number, it may not actually come exactly back to this level to retest, but it may still have a retest for the 200-day moving average. Now, if you go on a daily chart, you kind of get that understanding, okay, right? You broke higher. You may have a retest that can be like up to the 21-day moving average, which would be around 118, 115, that range. But still, if you zoom out and look at the macro trend, you can see one thing for clear. The trend is changing. We were trending below this line of resistance. The moving average was above the price. Right now, the moving average is below the price. Or in other words, price is above the moving average, which does mean bulls are taking control in that particular asset. So now you come back to XRP, look at that on a weekly, and you're like, okay, the price is below the moving average. So on this time frame, so if you're ultra long term right now, bulls are not in control. But on a 3-day, slowly bulls are trying to defeat the bears and taking the control. As you go zoom in on a daily, that's like next 3 weeks, all up to 2.5, 3 months. Bulls are trying to maintain their strength and overcome the sellers. And with the last candle, which we just had right here, we can actually say like, okay, we went lower all the way down to 0.36, but right now you close at 0.38. So that happens to be a engulfing candle here, right? Technically speaking, if you are looking at that, there was bearishness. Sellers tried to push the price lower, but the very next candle, the price pushed back up, buyers regained the strength and they took control. So now, if you are looking at the trend line, you have two stuff. One, the horizontal line. This is the resistance, previous one. If you put that into perspective, it goes all the way here. There was support before, right now a resistance. So you came back down to retest that. You broke higher, you came back, you retested that with the moving average, 21-day moving average. Now we are bouncing from that. Fine. So if you put the trend line, now you're looking for something like this. Fine. So your resistance from here would most likely be something like this as a trending channel on a short-term scenario. Now, this is not the macro one. This is a short-term scenario. So when you go up, 0.4, 0.45 can be acting as a resistance. Now, take that same idea, keeping that there, and zoom out slowly to understand like where your next major resistance comes in. So when you actually plot that, it comes somewhere here. You still have room to the upside. Now you then go on to look like, okay, where my horizontal level of resistance would be. So you still have room. So you may even break this channel to the upside, trending higher all the way here. That is actually bullish for XRP. Now, on the side of Ether, you actually see like the short-term pattern we broke to the upside. That's actually bullish. Now you take a step back, and when you're looking at a daily, Ether is still inside this pattern. Fine. So as you break through, you have the 200-day moving average, which is close to 2260. So the volume is on the green, the positive side. So we may actually head north. But to get a confirmation for this, you really need the price to break through this pattern to the upside, because otherwise it can just fake out and come back down. But with the green CPI numbers, I think the markets are going to trend up, because on a medium-term scenario, right now you're getting this descending broadening wedge where you broke the 21-day moving average. You are heading to test the 200-day moving average. So that happens to be somewhere close to this resistance. So somewhere close to 2,200 is going to be your next stop, because the RSI is already breaking higher in Ethereum, right? So as you step back on a weekly, you're still observing like, okay, that really gives a perspective like, okay, you're breaking through this, and that does mean all coins are going to have a run to the upside, and Bitcoin may most likely end up somewhere close to $30,000. So now people would still talk about $10,000 Bitcoin, but understand this all depends on how we react to this level. This level actually acted as a support for a long period of time, and then we broke to the downside. We did not get a proper retest. So right now this can be a retest. So if that happens to be a retest, then the price is going to go back down. So it all depends on the time it takes to reach that 30,000. Because say, for example, you're looking at next September 13, next CPI number is going to come out by that time. And if it takes a month to reach 30,000, and say, for example, the next inflation number is more than the expected, the market may slow down again, thinking, okay, whether the Fed is going to go aggressive, whether they're going to do a 50, 75, they're going to repeat that cycle, or they're going to lower. So it all depends on that. But imagine we are around 28 to 30,000. Now, this is a hypothetical scenario where you are like, okay, we are close to September 2nd week. The CPI is not out yet, and the price is close to 28 to 30,000. Inflation is still dropping. That means most likely Fed is going to go only for 20-25 basis points, and the market is still going to run higher. So that time you're going to see a break here. And a break here in Bitcoin does mean a breakout in altcoins moving back higher. Crazy. Because here there's altcoins and you're observing like, okay, we are breaking through this level, and by the time Bitcoin reaches the next resistance of 30, most likely you're going to reach here, $1 trillion altcoins, and the trend line comes close. So when you break that, it does actually bring a lot more momentum into the altcoin structure, because as you zoom out, now you see like, okay, it all goes back down here. With this break here, and you're going to test the higher level of resistance, on a weekly, the RSI is just breaking. Now that does mean something, because we've been following this trend line for the RSI from a long time, so say almost around 2 years. But if we get a break here, that means, okay, within the next couple of months, price is going to test this one. And the RSI indicates that the price may test and break that level of resistance. So if we are putting that into a market watch scenario, we would say like, okay, the CPI numbers next time is also going to be lower than expected. Oil price is going to remain the same or drop. Supply chain issues are going to ease. Now, these are all hypothetical scenarios, but if that plays out, that does mean a lot of people who are talking about the bear market going towards, $10,000 Bitcoin, blah, 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 blah. That stuff will still remain there when we make an all-time high. So it's up to you where you take your profit. And that's why we follow charts and update you on a regular basis what the market does. where your opportunities are, what my trades are, where I'm going to take the profits. And when I open a position, when I close a position, you get that knowledge. Why? Taking profits is one of the important stuff in this market. Whether it's the 30% trade which you put in and you're organized, you're disciplined. If you're following 30% trade to 50%, now something changes, you're following the higher target. If the volume is low, you're following the lower target or close to that and you're moving out. Now we have a positive scenario in the market. Volume is coming back in. You look at the USDT, it's increasing in volume. We were talking about a 50 billion market cap before. Right now we are at 70. So on Tether, when people are entering stablecoin, what does it actually mean? First, the volume is increasing. Does that mean people are going out? No, the volume in Bitcoin or Ether or XRP did not reduce. They increased along with the stablecoin. So the new money, whether it's dollar, whether it's euro, whether it's yuan, yen, it's coming into stablecoin. Then it's entering into the crypto market. So the crypto market is still going up, but some are still sidelines. They're waiting there to enter the market. Now, this is what will pump the market. Now, if they are in stable coin, they are looking to buy proper opportunities. So that does mean there is going to be a lot of opportunities in this market, which you can take benefit of. And if you're looking for that kind of updates, alerts, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below, where you get these breakout calls and assets with the targets. Because knowing the targets, I believe, is an important factor. So if you see that breakout, most likely a lot of others, including the algorithms and bots, does see that and know your target. So taking a little bit early gives you an advantage to take that profit before the profit actually gets wiped out. So if you want that, you can look at the Patreon. So guys, if you're receiving value for your time, please do hit that like and subscribe button. Now, on the fundamental side of this, we are not completely XRP maxi kind of stuff. We do completely like XRP as an asset because we think payment is one of the best use case. And whatever business you do, it ends up in the exchange of value. So that's where this comes into play. Now, DOT or Polkadot is another asset along with, say, Cosmos or... Now, I'm not a fan of Solana here, but I would go for a Wax, Cosmos, Polkadot in that side. Then Ether. Then on the payment tokens, we just looked at the technicals. Those are like good coins. So now if you are in this market looking at where people are going in, development activities are increasing, and the adoption is slowly ticking higher, and the possibility of a price explosion, you can look at these. These are actually really good stuff. Now, that's when we actually look at different items, right? You look at like, okay, this is an asset. This is a company. Fine. What does that company do with this asset? Are they relying on this asset? Are they not directly dependent on this asset? You need to actually ask that question, whether the company is actually pushing the adoption of this asset. Here, it feels like, okay, they are selling you Ether. They are taking or cutting your throat from the gas fees. They've been doing that from a long time. Taking that money, trying to develop Ether 2.0. Now, we don't know when it's going to come out. We still thought like it's going to come out in 2016. That was 2018. Now it's 2022. Hopefully that actually comes out, because on the other side, this is so bad. So you really need a bull run, and taking profits is important. Now, yes, the CPI number overall looks comparatively lower than what we had last month. But if you are looking these prices year over year, this is actually crazy numbers. This really is crazy numbers. So this is like, you're cooking food at home and it's like 13% expensive. So it's not only in the expensive stuff which you can completely cut off. Now it's in your daily life. So you need to plan accordingly. You need to then start saving, make that emergency fund, keep it aside, then start saving again, then think about investing. You should have that liquidity on your side. Otherwise, when an emergency comes, you do have to sell in red. Now, we all went through that situation, and that's how we learn. But doing that again and again does not make it a mistake. Once it's a mistake, but you learn from that, then you are going to be a successful investor. We all went through that. Maybe I went through that a lot of different times, but that's the hard lesson. But once you learn that lesson, you don't repeat that. Now, we're all human beings. we tend to repeat mistakes, and that's why we go through the charts, because the charts shows the price action, meaning how traders, investors reacted to the price of an asset close to that range. So guys, if you understood something and it's valuable for you, again, please do hit that like button. That supports the channel a lot, and I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.